Dealing with crime sometimes involves second chances. Hi, I'm Brian Lilley, political columnist for the Toronto Sun. It's fascinating to watch the issues surrounding crime. We see crime rising throughout Canada. We've seen violent crime rise. And when it comes to that, we generally want to make sure that people are locked up. But not everyone who goes to jail is someone that needs to be locked up for the rest of their lives. And once they're out, well, what happens to them? Do they get a second chance? Is it difficult to find a job? For Emily O'Brien, who spent time in prison recently, the answer was yes. Very difficult for her to find a new way to earn a living once she got out. She started her own company, Comeback Snacks. Now, along with Lucy Cullen, she has launched a new project, Comeback Catalyst, an attempt to give people who were previously incarcerated, people who spent time in jail, a second chance through entrepreneurship, starting their own business. There's a great example of what needs to be happening in this country, because while we need to lock up the repeat violent offenders, that's not the majority of people who go to prison in this country. And we need to give them a path back into normal life if we don't want them going back into prison for committing crime because they have no other options. Was able to sit down and talk with Emily O'Brien and Lucy Cullen recently about their project and why they're so passionate about it. Ladies, thanks for the time today. So how did Comeback Catalyst get started? It sounds like a fantastic idea, but how did it get started?
Well, it actually started when I met Lucy Cullen. We met at this random event, and I was doing an event because of talking about comeback snacks, my entire comeback journey. And I always had this insatiable desire to prove that people that have been incarcerated have incredible tangible skills to run their own company, because finding employment after incarceration is really, really difficult, and that more times than not leads to recidivism over and over. And I always wanted to do something, and I didn't know how to do it. I don't have the not the emotional, I don't have the skills background to build a program that's robust, that's actually going to make an impact. And then I met Lucy Cullen at this event we were speaking at, and she wanted to do the same.
So what drew you into this idea then, Lucy?
Yeah, so I used to do, years ago, I did some advocacy in correctional facilities in Canada to, my my mission was to address the very real human rights issue that was happening within food in correctional facilities at the time and implement the Canadian Food Guide. So that's some work that I did in advocacy, and I've always wanted to get back into supporting this community. Initially, because my background is in entrepreneurship and supporting entrepreneurs to achieve their goals, that's my entire life right now. Initially, I thought that that was just going to be something I did in a small volunteer capacity. And I thought, I'll do that. And I will teach business skills to those incarcerated and previously incarcerated. And then I met Emily at this event, and I thought, oh my gosh, there are more people out there like her that are ready to make their own comeback. And I thought, you know what, we could also get grant funding to turn this into a really comprehensive program. So I pitched the idea to her on a phone call. Turns out she'd wanted to do it for a really long time. She just wanted a partner. And then we applied for funding, we got funded, and we launched the company within 4 weeks, and here we are.
So we'll get into the funding and the foundation in a moment, but let's talk about incarceration. Most of the time that we hear about it now, it's because there's nasty stories in the news, and we've all seen the spike in crime, and we know the reality of repeat violent offenders getting bail all the time, and then they're arrested. There was one guy. He was trying to steal a car in the court parking lot after they gave him bail. And so people want to make sure folks like that are locked up. But then the majority of people who go to jail and get out, well, they need a second chance. How difficult is it for them to get that second chance, to land a job, to find an opportunity? I assume that there are restrictions in some workplaces. Are there restrictions by law on jobs you can or cannot have if you've been incarcerated?
And yeah, I can please speak to this. The media is the media. It's a tool to get clicks. Crime is a huge issue, and taking care of the repeat offenders is honestly not our job. It's not.
But that's what gets the headline, and that's what gets people talking.
Yeah.
That's the small, nasty minority. and then there's the rest of people. So
which is the
that's
majority of
what I'm
people that are
asking about.
incarcerated. So it's like watching a movie. You're not going to see a movie on the good things that happen in prison. You're going to see a movie about this rampant violence and terrifies the public of knowing someone or supporting someone that's ever been involved in the justice system. And so I think it's a big thing to tackle, but we're equipped for it because we want to do it, and it's proof that we're gonna make
So
good
what
changes.
are the
And
hurdles, Emily?
huh?
What are the hurdles that people have to overcome? The vast majority of people who have paid their debt to society, who've done time, and need that second chance. What are the hurdles that they face?
The number one hurdle is support and the stigma. It's like and just to be clear, I'm a big believer in justice for wrongdoing. I'm not saying, oh, everyone should get off scot-free. Absolutely not. You do something wrong, you pay the price, right? And that's what the comeback catalyst is based upon. It's about people realizing they did something wrong, paying the price, and then wanting to still live their lives again. How many times have you went to the same store and like bought the same shirt twice? It's like I already paid for this shirt. I've already owned it, learned it, and again, like the reason for recidivism is everyone being put in this one box that everyone's a villain for the rest of their life. And Canadian businesses are missing out on top talent. Canadian employers are missing out on top talent. And anyone that lives in a city is like, they want to feel safer. But if you want to feel safer, give
Get,
people who haven't committed violent crime, nonviolent crime are very different, right? So give
yeah.
those people a chance.
Um, so Lucy, what's the plan? You've got a grant, very substantial. It's over $600,000, isn't it? The grant.
Yeah, we raised $655,000 for this pilot project.
All right. So tell us where that money came from, and then what you're going to do to help people get that second chance.
Yeah, so we raised that capital with the support of North Pine Foundation, which is a private family-run foundation. We applied for funding, and they were very excited to partner with us in making Comeback Catalyst happen. And with that, we are going to launch our program. It is a free virtual educational program to teach entrepreneurship skills to those previously incarcerated across Canada. So even if you'd been incarcerated 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you were eligible to apply. All you need to have is a business idea and be 18 years old and be in Canada. Excuse me. And so with that, we are going to launch our program, and it's 12 weeks, and we support participants to launch their business and make it a reality.
Let's talk about your business, Emily, because that's the success story that's been told all over the place. You've done how many media interviews? Probably more than you can remember, more than you can count.
Yeah.
How did you get that second chance? Your personal story with Comeback Snacks, similar name, different company, but the tasty popcorn. How did that come about?
Tasty Pop. So when I was incarcerated, I was $50,000 in debt and full of regret. Not just with why I was there, but like also the pain that it caused my family. And I was like, you know what? If I'm going to be away for a year, I'm going to turn this into a university, a sabbatical, and a rehab, because legal fees were expensive. And I was like, I knew that I had a business mindset when I was like, okay, I'm not going to spend $50,000 on doing nothing. And I knew that I could create something good, but I didn't know what that was going to be because I'd never been to prison before. No one in my family has ever been to prison before. No one in my family has either been an entrepreneur before. And so they wanted to support me as a family, but like they didn't know how to support me as like this entrepreneur. So when I got to prison, I met so many other people that were really just like me, and maybe obviously not entirely like me, but felt misunderstood, felt like they wanted a second chance, felt discarded, and we bonded over food. That food was like a blank canvas. It was like a painting. Anyone could like participate, and you found that commonality. But through that commonality of food was also skills, talents, and the desire to do better. And so Comeback Snacks was born in prison. I would buy kernels off like the canteen and spices off. No, we had access to the spices, and then everyone would just get involved, and we talk about our dreams in life. And that first dream was,
And so how long ago did Comeback Snacks start, and how much has it grown? You're employing people now.
yeah, yeah. So I was in prison in 2018. I went in on my mom's birthday, and I was in for a year. I served the entirety of my 4 years because I think a lot of people are also very confused on how the justice system works. It's like, oh, you got out after a year. No, I was still served the entirety of my sentence, which is 4 years, which is very challenging. And yeah, so we're all across the country. We're in over 1,000 stores, and we've employed 15 to 20 people, like to help out with like sales and just giving people that stepping stone. Right? It doesn't have to be your full-time job. It's just like, come work for me or work with us, and then if you need a reference for another job, I got you.
And so, Lucy, this is the kind of success story that you want to take and replicate now with other people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to also say that someone else's success might not look exactly like Emily's, and that's okay because we're really excited in this program. If someone has an idea to launch a hot sauce business that they also want to get into 1,000 stores, incredible. We might also have applicants who they just want to launch their side hustle and make extra income on the weekends or evenings. So whatever success is for them, our real core goal is to support participants to take their business idea, make it a reality, and support them in making more money on their own terms. And so side hustles, their own businesses, it'll be slightly different for everyone. But regardless, we're really excited to see that happen at Comeback Catalyst.
All right, Emily O'Brien, Lucy Cullen, thanks so much for the time.
Thank you so much for having us. And everyone can learn more at comebackcatalyst.ca and apply there.
Let me know what you think. Drop a comment down below. Share this on social media. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.